Sonic Cinema Audiobooks proudly presents Twilight of Justice, The Secrets That Turned a Brother into a Beast, a captivating story by author Rosalane Joseph, narrated by Brian from 11 Labs. The golden hues of the setting sun bathed the expansive estate of Jean-Philippe III, a testament to his vast fortune and influence. Inside the grand mansion, the atmosphere was tense. Ezekiel sat at his mahogany desk, poring over legal textbooks, his eyes heavy but determined. Graduation from Harvard Law was just months away, and his future gleamed with promise. Down the hall, the thumping bass of music vibrated through the walls. Ezekiel sighed, recognizing the familiar pattern. His identical twin brother, Philip, was preparing for yet another night of reckless abandon. Despite sharing the same striking features, sharp jawlines, piercing green eyes, and a mane of dark curls, the brothers couldn't have been more different. "You're heading out again?" Ezekiel called as Philip swaggered past his open door, the scent of expensive cologne trailing behind. Philip paused, flashing a devil-may-care grin. "Lighten up, Zeke. It's Friday night. Come with me for once." Ezekiel shook his head, a hint of concern in his eyes. "I have an important interview with a law firm tomorrow. Besides, Dad gave you an ultimatum. You can't keep doing this." Philip scoffed, rolling his eyes. "Dad's all talk. Besides, he wouldn't dare cut me off. I'm his favorite, remember?" "Being his favorite won't save you forever," Ezekiel warned gently. Philip's grin faded slightly, but he shrugged it off. "Well, until then, I'm going to enjoy myself." He jingled a set of keys. "By the way, I'm taking your Range Rover tonight." Ezekiel stood up, alarmed. "Wait, why mine?" "Take your own car. Mine's in the shop. Don't worry, I'll bring it back in one piece." Philip winked. Before Ezekiel could protest further, Philip was gone, leaving a trail of anticipation and unease in his wake. Neon lights blurred past as Philip sped through the city streets, Sophia laughing beside him in the passenger seat. The night was alive. Clubs pulsed with energy, and the air was thick with possibility. Drink after drink, dance after dance. Philip drowned himself in the euphoria of the moment, oblivious to the ticking clock. At 2 a.m, the city had quieted. Philip, eyes glazed and movements unsteady, slipped behind the wheel. "Let's go somewhere else," he slurred. Sophia hesitated. "Maybe we should call it a night. You've had a lot to drink." "Relax," he chuckled, dismissing her concern. "I'm fine." As they approached an intersection, a red light glared like a warning. A silver Toyota sat idling, its driver, Carlito, tapping his fingers on the steering wheel to the rhythm of a soft melody. He was weary from a double shift, but eager to return home to his grandmother, who always waited up for him. Philip didn't see the light, or perhaps he chose not to. The roar of the engine drowned out Sophia's scream as the Range Rover barreled into the Toyota. Metal crunched, glass shattered, and time seemed to freeze. The impact hurled Carlito through his windshield, his body landing lifelessly on the cold asphalt. Silence followed, broken only by the hissing of steam from the wreckage. Philip stumbled out, the reality of what he'd done crashing down. Sophia was sobbing, a gash on her forehead, bleeding profusely. "Oh my God, Philip," she cried. "We have to help him." Panic twisted his features. No, we can't stay. They'll take everything from me." "Are you insane?" Sophia yelled. "We need to call an ambulance." But Philip was already pulling her away. "If we stay, it's over. Come on." They fled into the shadows as sirens wailed in the distance, leaving behind the shattered remains of lives forever altered. Morning light filtered through lace curtains as Ezekiel sipped his coffee, oblivious to the storm brewing. The tranquility was shattered by a pounding at the door. He opened it to find police officers, their expressions grim. "Is Zacchaeus Jean-Philippe?" one inquired. "Yes?" "You're under arrest for the murder of Carlito Ramirez. You have the right to remain silent." Stunned, Ezekiel barely registered the cold metal of handcuffs against his wrists. "There must be some mistake," he stammered. "I haven't—" "Your vehicle was involved in a hit-and-run last night," the officer stated firmly. As they led him away, Ezekiel caught a glimpse of his father standing at the top of the staircase, disbelief and disappointment etched into his features. Philip was nowhere to be seen. The police station was a blur of accusations and paperwork. Despite his protests, the evidence was damning. Eyewitnesses described a man matching his appearance. The car was registered to him, and traces of alcohol were found in the vehicle. In a modest neighborhood across town, Maria Ramirez cradled the blood-stained jacket of her beloved grandson. Carlito had been her joy, her reason for enduring life's hardships since fleeing Cuba decades ago. Now grief consumed her like a relentless tide. When news came that the charges against Ezequias were dropped due to lack of sufficient evidence, something inside Maria snapped. Justice had failed her. With a resolve forged from generations of suffering, she returned to her homeland. Deep in the heart of Cuba, Maria sought out an old santera known for communing with dark spirits. Under a moonless sky, they performed forbidden rituals, calling upon 7 demons to enact vengeance. Maria offered everything she had, her soul, her remaining years, if only the guilty would suffer as she did. Oblivious to the sinister forces at play, Ezequias tried to piece his life back together. His reputation tarnished, his relationships strained, and whispers followed him wherever he went. Worse yet, Philip remained elusive, offering no explanation or support. One night, as the clock struck 2, a searing agony ripped through Ezequias's body. He collapsed, bones contorting, skin burning. Panic overwhelmed him as his hands transformed into paws, his screams morphing into anguished howls. When the pain subsided, he stood on 4 legs, a dog with fur as black as the night. Terror and confusion warred within him. Drawn by an unseen force, he sprinted into the darkness, the city's sense overwhelming his heightened senses. He arrived at the intersection where Carlito had died. Visions flooded his mind. The screech of tires, the fatal impact, the lifeless body on the road. Ezequias whimpered, the weight of a sin he didn't commit crushing his spirit. For hours he roamed aimlessly until, with the first light of dawn, the agony returned. Transformed back into a man, he lay trembling on the sidewalk, naked and vulnerable. This torment repeated nightly. Exhausted and desperate, Ezequias sought answers. Delving into the world of the occult, he uncovered the truth of Maria's curse, a punishment meant for the one who left Carlito to die like a dog. Determined to confront his brother, Ezequias tracked down Philip, finding him in a dimly lit penthouse surrounded by the remnants of yet another party. Philip greeted him with feigned nonchalance. "Long time no see, brother." "Enough, Philip," Ezequias snapped. "I know what you did." Philip's carefree mask faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." Ezequias advanced, fury burning in his eyes. "You killed an innocent man and let me take the fall. Do you have any idea what I've been through?" Philip sneered, though his eyes betrayed fear. "Even if I did, there's no proof. Besides, it's not like you suffered any real consequences." "Not suffer?" Ezequias's voice cracked. "I've lost everything. My education, my future, my humanity every night. I'm cursed because of you." Philip laughed bitterly. "Always the dramatic one. Maybe you should thank me. Now you're free from Dad's expectations." Rage boiled over. Ezequias lunged, grabbing Philip by the collar. "You selfish coward! Face what you've done!" Philip shoved him away. "Get off me! You're insane!" "Am I, or are you just afraid to admit the truth?" Silence hung heavy between them. Finally, Philip sank onto the couch, head in his hands. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was drunk. I panicked." "Your panic doesn't absolve you," Ezequias said coldly. "Carlito's grandmother cursed me, thinking I was responsible. She's dead now, and I'm left to bear your punishment." Philip looked up, tears glistening. "What do you want me to do?" "Confess," Ezequias demanded. "Own up to your actions. If I do, Dad will disown me. I'll lose everything." "Maybe that's what you deserve." Philip stood, anger flashing. "Easy for you to say, Mr. Perfect. You've always had it all figured out." "This isn't about me," Ezequias retorted. "It's about doing what's right." Philip turned away, fists clenched. Minutes passed before he whispered, "I can't." Disgusted, Ezequias shook his head. "Then you're beyond saving." Determined to find another way, Ezequias delved deeper into the curse's origins. He sought out a renowned santero, hoping to reverse the spell. The old man listened intently as Ezekias recounted his tale. The curse binds you because the one responsible remains unpunished, the Santero explained. Only by balancing the scales can it be lifted. Philip refuses to confess, Ezekias said bitterly. Then you must make amends on his behalf, the Santero advised. Seek forgiveness from those wronged. With renewed purpose, Ezekias approached Maria's family. He offered heartfelt apologies, sharing the full truth and expressing his willingness to accept any consequence. Moved by his sincerity, Khalid's aunt placed a gentle hand on his cheek. You carry a burden that isn't yours. We forgive you. A warmth spread through Ezekias, a lightness he hadn't felt in months. That night, as the clock neared 2, he braced himself. The minutes ticked by, but the transformation never came. Relief and gratitude washed over him. The curse was lifted. Ezekias returned to his studies, his resolve stronger than ever. Word of his ordeal spread, and though some whispered behind his back, many admired his integrity. One afternoon he received a call from Vashti. You need to come home, she said urgently. At the family estate he found his father looking frail, a shadow of his former self. What's going on? Ezekias asked. Jean-Philip met his eyes, regret evident. Philip confessed everything. The guilt was too much for him. Where is he? He's turned himself in, Vashti answered softly. Ezekias felt a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and a glimmer of hope. I'm glad he did the right thing. His father sighed heavily. I've failed you both. I was too blind to see what my favoritism did. Ezekias approached him. We all made mistakes, but we can move forward. Jean-Philip nodded, tears brimming. Can you forgive an old fool? Ezekias embraced his father. Yes, Dad. We can heal together. Months later, Ezekias stood on the stage, accepting his law degree to a standing ovation. Among the crowd, he spotted his father and Vashti, their smiles beaming with pride. Philip, serving his sentence, had sent a heartfelt letter expressing his remorse and hopes for redemption. Ezekias knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with each step, he carried the lessons of his journey, a testament to resilience, integrity, and the unbreakable bonds of family. As he left the auditorium, the evening sky painted with hues of lavender and gold, he felt a profound peace. The sins of the past had been acknowledged, the debts paid, and the future awaited. A blank canvas ready to be filled with purpose and hope.